And another one, Conor Benn is the latest out of many fighters, trainers, and people in boxing who are basically saying that Devin Haney psychologically may not be the same after the Ryan Garcia very grueling, very punishing fight. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a mean and cruel place that it'll beat you there to your knees if you let it. Nothing is gonna hit as hard as life. But it's not about how hard you get, about how you keep going forward and move it. It is gonna be. I'm sorry for that outburst, people. I love my job though. The best in the business, and it's not even close. So Conor Benn, he is in New York. He is an interested spectator, and he's went on record saying, as far as the card, he's saying that he wants to see. He's kind of scouting because if he can't get the Eubank rematch with Chris Eubank, he says he'll drop back down to 47, no problem, and fight Ryan Garcia. But another name on there that could be interesting for him is Devin Haney, right? So I don't know how this will work. I don't know. I guess there's paperwork and rematch clauses with the Chris Eubank. So I don't know what was decided, if people change their mind. And then furthermore, you got Turkey, who's allegedly was trying to schedule a Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia rematch should they both win. So I don't know how Conor Benn fits into the puzzle, but things are rapidly changing in boxing. Who knows? But something he said regarding Devin Haney is interesting, and I'm going to read the direct quotes and give my thoughts. Quote, I think Devin is in a tough fight. He needs to get the job done, right, against Ramirez. You need people like Haney. You need the big characters in the sport of boxing. People invest more in characters than ability. And he was asked about, out of the triple header, who has the best chance of being upset. Surprisingly, he says, probably Ramirez Haney. Ryan Garcia is going to be on full-on confidence. If he stayed in the ring and stayed active, there won't be no ring rust. I expect Garcia to come out and put on his statement. I think T.O. is all wrong for Barbosa. Although I like Barbosa, I like both men. I think the only upset that could happen is Ramirez Haney. I could see that being Garcia Rowley as far as being the most entertaining of the three. You've seen Garcia go down with Luke Campbell and Gervonta with a body shot. I think that could be lively, but I see Garcia coming out on top. Haney's looking in the best shape that I've ever seen him in. End quote. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, kid. When this fight was first announced, I said, there, I guess, is a hint of danger, really because of the Ryan Garcia fight. But as we've gotten closer to this particular fight, there seems to be a lot of people indicating that Devin Haney was the one to pick the wrong fight and could get upset and things like that. I'll be frank. I personally didn't look at this fight as kind of a sure shot or guarantee for Jose Ramirez. My thought on the fight was this. I think an upset could occur, but for me, it's more how much cobwebs and PTSD and things like that Devin Haney would have from his last fight more than just Jose Ramirez. Meaning, if the Ryan Garcia fight never happened, I wouldn't pick Jose Ramirez to beat Devin Haney. But boxing is interesting like that, where timing is all about the timing. I've always said that for years. Timing actually matters, and the time in which certain fights happen or don't happen, whatever, this is paramount, right? So for me, I was thinking more depending on how Haney shows up, but he looks like he's in great shape and things like that. But I'm telling you, there are a lot of people confident in Jose Ramirez. For me, I can't be super confident in Jose Ramirez because I haven't seen a Jose Ramirez that looked impressive in quite some time. So it's not just, we can look at Devin Haney and the timing of his particular fight and the Ryan situation and how he handled that and stuff like that. But for me, I was like, Ramirez is coming off a loss. He looked kind of flat versus Barbosa. Again, different guy, different frame, different style. I get that. But Conor Benn is just one of many who are really putting out here. Now, I do disagree with Conor Benn when he said that this is the only fight that has a chance of an upset. I don't see that at all. I think all 3 fights have a definite chance of any one of those fights going off the rails and not having the outcome that people expected, right? So that includes Ryan Roley, Devin Ramirez, and also Teofimo Barbosa. I don't think any of those are just a guaranteed gimme fight where nothing can go wrong. Like, if you were betting on it, depending on the odds, I wouldn't be fully confident, because boxing is weird. The environment is weirder. They're doing this Times Square. Like, you have to understand, I've been in this game for so long, and this game, there's so many variables to it. Just the fact that they're fighting on the East Coast. On top of that, fighting on the East Coast outdoors. I know a lot of fighters personally, and they have told me in the past they don't like fighting outdoors, right? So that change alone could create a scenario that we didn't think we would see. That's why it's risky to do events like this, because what if you come out and you didn't get a good warm up because it's cold? I don't know where they're warming up and gloving up and all that, but you got to think about these things. Like Turkey, he's out here treating boxing kind of like a comic book or a video game, which I get it. You have money and resources to pull it off, but at the same time, you have to understand this sport of boxing. Putting your fighter out there and they're potentially cold. What if Roley cocked back and hit Ryan with one of them bombs? Because this is kind of a do or die fight for Roley, in my opinion. So things like that, it becomes unpredictable. So I totally disagree with Conor Benn thinking that the only fight that could have a misfire is Devin and Ramirez, right? Teofimo, he's also done a lot of weird stuff and wearing masks. And Arnold Barbosa is on a bit of a hot streak. So for me, I wouldn't be surprised if any of these fights had an upset, or if we seen more than one upset or more than one fight in this triple header where someone didn't perform to the standard that people imagine. That's just my thoughts. Conor Benn, he gave his opinion, but a lot of people are banking on Devin Haney potentially not looking the same. And it goes to show you everything that Boxing Ego said previously is true, that it's hard to come back from punishing losses, and even if I'm not being pessimistic, I'm being real. Even if Devin Haney comes from this particular fight and looks good, I still have to see more, because again, for me, Ramirez was not necessarily the guy or style that I think would definitely give a lot of problems. But if he fought like a Subriel Matias, a Gary Antoine Russell coming off of this loss, then those would be super, super dangerous. I never viewed Ramirez as dangerous as some of the guys that I just mentioned, right? So I think there clearly were more dangerous guys that he could fight, especially true welterweights like a Jerron Boots Ennis or something, which would be ridiculous to come back to that fight. So to me, it's like a middle of the road. You took a guy older, hasn't really looked that great, has a good name, and, kind of a last hurrah if he loses. So we'll see how the fight plays out, but I'm not as convinced as certain people. And don't get it twisted. Jose Ramirez looks in shape. I do think he could possibly get some things done, but I'm just saying my confidence level is not as high as other people when they're talking this upset talk.